Officer!
Put him in cuffs.
He doesn't belong here.
Linda screamed, her finger pointing accusingly at the man standing in his own driveway. The sirens were blaring. Neighbors were peeking out from behind their curtains. And Linda, the HOA president, wore a smile of pure victory. She had finally done it. She had called the police on the suspicious character she had been harassing for months. The officer stepped forward, ready to make an arrest. But then he stopped. His eyes widened as he looked at the man's chest. The angry expression on the officer's face vanished. Instantly, instead of handcuffs, the officer raised his hand and saluted. Linda's smile disappeared. She had no idea that the man she called a thug was actually a living legend, and this mistake was about to cost her everything. Welcome back to Voices of Freedom. Today's story is about Marcus Williams, a man who just wanted peace after 20 years of serving his country. But what he got instead was a war, right in his own front yard. Before we dive in, I have a question for you. Have you ever had a neighbor or an HOA member who tried to control your life? Let us know in the comments below. We read every single story. Marcus moved into the sleepy suburb of Oak Creek in late October. He bought the house with cash, savings from 2 decades of dangerous deployments overseas. He was tired. He had scars, both visible and invisible. All he wanted was to fix up his old 1969 Mustang and drink coffee on his porch. But Oak Creek had a ruler. Her name was Linda. She was the HOA president, and she didn't like outsiders. When she saw a large black man moving into the corner house, she didn't see a hero. She saw a target. It started small. 3 days after moving in, Marcus found a letter in his mailbox. A $50 fine. The reason? Grass is 0.5 inches too tall. Marcus chuckled, cut the grass, and paid the fine. He didn't want trouble, but Linda took his silence for weakness. Over the next few weeks, the fines became ridiculous. $100 for leaving a garden hose out, $200 for a non-compliant mailbox, color, $500 for parking his truck in the driveway for 5 minutes. If you think HOAs have too much power, hit that like and subscribe button right now. Let's see how many of us believe in real property rights. Story twist. Linda starts spreading rumors. But Linda didn't stop at fines. She began whispering to the neighbors. She told them Marcus was a drug dealer. She said, how else could he afford a house like this without a job? She didn't know he was on a military pension. She turned the whole neighborhood against him. People stopped waving at him. Mothers pulled their children away when he walked by. Marcus was isolated again. Marcus tried to talk to her. He went to the HOA meeting. He stood up, calm and respectful, holding a stack of unjust fines. Ma'am, I've followed every rule. These fines are harassment. Linda laughed in his face in front of everyone. If you can't afford our standards, she sneered, maybe you should move back to where you came from. That was the moment Marcus changed. He didn't get angry. He got quiet. In the military, they teach you. Never interrupt your enemy when they are making a mistake. And Linda was making a massive one. It was a Tuesday evening. Marcus was replacing the alternator on his Mustang. He held a large wrench in his hand. Linda saw her chance. She dialed 911. Linda, 911?
Help! There's a man with a weapon!
He's threatening me. I think he's on drugs. Please hurry. She lied. She wanted to see him humiliated. She wanted him in handcuffs. Within minutes, 3 squad cars screeched into the cul-de-sac. Drop the weapon! Hands in the air! The officer screamed. Marcus slowly placed the wrench on the ground and raised his hands. He didn't look scared. He looked disappointed. Officer Miller approached him. He was ready to tackle Marcus. But as he got closer, the streetlights reflected off a small lapel pin on Marcus's jacket and the specific tattoo on his forearm. Ranger Regiment, Silver Star recipient. Officer Miller had served in the same unit years ago. He recognized the legend instantly. Sergeant Major Williams? The officer whispered. Marcus nodded slowly. At ease, Corporal. The atmosphere shifted instantly. The officers holstered their weapons. Officer Miller snapped a salute. Linda ran over, confused. Why aren't you arresting him? He threatened me. Officer Miller turned to Linda. His face was cold as ice. Ma'am, filing a false police report is a felony. And harassing a decorated war veteran? That's going to make the judge very unhappy. Linda wasn't just fined. Marcus sued the HOA for targeted harassment and discrimination. The lawsuit revealed that Linda had been embezzling funds for years. She lost her house. She lost her presidency. And Marcus? He finally got his peace. Marcus proved that true strength isn't about being loud. It's about standing your ground. If you enjoyed this story of justice, please subscribe to Voices of Freedom and tell us, what would you have done if you were Marcus? See you in the next video.